Hey guys, welcome back to Auto Repair guys. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to the channel. Today will be super helpful video to any of you having a Hyundai Sonata and you need to remove or replace timing chain tensioner. Okay, stay with us, we'll explain how to do that on 2.4 GDI engine. But actually, even if you have a similar GDI engine with different displacement, it may be helpful as well. Before we start, let me tell you, it will take a little bit of work, but there are two methods to do that. One is I do not recommend, that I will actually do myself, and one that I do recommend. Okay, the first one I will recommend to never do it, but we'll explain how we do it here at the shop. Now, before we start, let me tell you a little bit about us. Every single car we get at the garage, we try to make at least 200 to 300 free repair videos. Why we do that? Simply because our mission in the shop is to save you as much money as we can. All we need in return, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, that way we can keep making these absolutely free videos for you. Now, if you need to buy any parts, tools for a good price and quick shipping guys, check out the link in the description of the video below. That's where we get all our tools and supplies from. So, with that being said, let's explain, okay, how to do that. Right here, 2.4 GDI engine. We need to go ahead guys, okay, and start on it. We need to first remove valve cover, oil pan, timing cover in order to get to the timing chain tensioner. Stay with us, we're going to start on that and then we'll continue with the next step. So in order to remove the oil pan, we need to remove the lower bolts on the AC compressor with a 12mm socket. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, one bolt is extremely tight, so we'll need to break it loose, okay, with a ratchet, and then we should be able to get it out. Let's go ahead, see if we can do that. Maybe use the impact so we can save a little bit of time. Everything happens quicker, okay, so we don't need to waste your time guys, so we can just get to the repair. Now, that bracket right here for the AC compressor needs to come out. You can see that bracket, because it's holding actually the oil pan and there is hidden bolts underneath it that you cannot access. So with the same 12mm socket, I believe we have 3 or 4 bolts. Okay, let's see where exactly they are located. That's bolt number 2, then we have bolt number 3. And after that guys, we're getting to bolt number 4 and the whole bracket will come off. Perfect. Now, that bracket, as you can see, there is actually even more hidden bolts now underneath. And there are 2 bolts that are with a 12-point socket, 12mm 12-point socket. I'm talking about this bolt here and the bolt right there. They're actually for the crankcase, so they're extremely long bolts that you need to apply a certain torque later. Okay, let me focus quick. I couldn't focus. This is a 12-point socket, that's what it looks like. You have to be careful not to strip them. I would never recommend to use impact with a 12-point socket. Okay, never use a 12-point socket impact. Okay, this is actually 13. We got a 13 because it can strip them, but also you have to be extremely careful. So I will recommend, okay, to do it by hand, because 12 points with the impact actually generates more torque, and that can strip them guys all of a sudden. Okay, perfect. One's out. You can see pretty long bolt. Now number 2 coming out as well. After that, we're pretty easy guys. We have a few bolts, probably 10-12 bolts, we'll see, with 10mm socket, okay, that we need to remove. So let's go ahead, start on that. I'm going to do my best to show you where they're located. They just fall in the bucket that we have there, and we'll get them. Now one of them is extremely tight again, so we need to pre-loosen that one. Okay, let's see if it's going to take care now. Okay, perfect. That's great. Now let's see where else we have bolts. On the back side right there. Okay, trying my best to show you where they are. All right, Now right here as well, and we go from here and we just keep going. Now that oil pan should be stuck with silicone, but this one was recently removed. It wasn't resealed, but when you remove the bolts it may be stuck and you may need to use a screwdriver, and there is a spot where you can pry right here. If you accidentally bend it, okay, you can straighten the oil pan later because it's all made out of metal. So the oil pan comes out, okay, you can see it just like that. Now that's the silicone right here. Let us show you. That's the silicone right here. We'll get the silicone that you need to use, but if you have an oil leak or every time you remove it you need to clean everything really good, okay, really good. The oil pan, get a scraper, clean it with a scraper, make sure there is absolutely no glue, silicone, anything like that. Then clean it with rubbing alcohol to make sure that it's not greasy. The same thing needs to apply to the engine block. You need to clean everything super good, guys. And you're going to apply 3 to 4 millimeter bead of silicone. The gray gasket maker is amazing for that. Whoever used the black one, I don't like it. The gray one is the original one that it's used. And you're going to apply 3 to 4 millimeter bead on the inside of the bolts. Okay, and you're going to install it. Some people go around the bolts too. You can a little bit, that's good as well. I mean, you can just go a little bit around the bolts. If it comes out later while it's still soft, just wipe it and you won't be able even to tell that there is silicone. But you can see oil pan came out just like that. So next we'll be removing the valve cover. Here for the valve cover we need to disconnect the ignition coils, pull the safety out and just disconnect them. Pretty simple procedure, guys. You can see just like that. Same thing, okay, to cylinder number 3 and 4 respectively. We have the fuel volume sensor on the high pressure fuel pump. If it doesn't want to come out, just pull that thing, grab the connector, push it in, then release it. Okay. Okay, it comes out because it gets stuck. We need to remove the fuel line. Always have fire extinguisher on the side. Fuel resistant gloves, eye protection. You spray some fuel when you remove that. Avoid sparks, flames, anything like that, right? You don't want to catch yourself on fire. So perfect, this one came out. Now let's go ahead. Okay, remove the high pressure fuel pump next. So a little bit on each side, not all at seven. And right here is the camshaft follower, also known as a cam bucket or camshaft tappet, or different names, that I would recommend to actually inspect and replace because those do fail sometimes and it can destroy your engine as well. So let's go ahead, put it in. Okay, now next thing we'll remove, okay, let's remove the ignition coils next. Okay, to remove all the ignition coils here, we're going to remove that mount. Okay, we drop the ball, we have to be careful. For the wiring harness, and then we will do the ignition coils. We can go ahead and flip the wiring harness on the side. Now, those ignition coils, they have bolts with 10 millimeter socket. Excuse me. Now, we can easily grab each one of those, pull them up. Okay, it comes out just like that. Now, that valve cover attaches with 20 or 22 bolts. I don't remember exactly how many, but it's quite a bit. We have a special video about the torque specs later and what you need to do to make sure you don't have oil leaks. Where you need to, even though you're putting a new gasket every time you remove it, you still need to apply a little bit of silicone at 2 places, otherwise you will develop leaks. So we'll go ahead, start getting the bolts loose. Preferably, okay, not to drop them. I'll just go ahead behind and pick them. Okay, when you're in the car, guys, take your time, okay? Be careful, because it's not worth it to drop bolts and start hunting for them for 20 minutes. It's a special bolt and you cannot replace it with another one. two more around the oil pump housing, the fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump. Right here you have 4 more bolts that are kind of like in the middle. One of them is a little bit hidden, you may not see it from the oil cap. So go ahead, do those. Alright. So let's go ahead. Pull that cover up. Okay, that line will come a little bit out of the way. And the valve cover, okay, came out. Now, this is the gasket here for the spark plugs, outer gasket as well. Every time it's recommended to replace that gasket. We have a special video about the torque specs for the valve cover. So let's continue with the next step now. So next, the timing cover. Okay, why we need to remove the oil pan, you can see first because oil pan is actually on top of the timing cover. It has the bolts here as well. Next, we need to pre-loosen the water pump. Okay, the water pump pulley bolts, pre-loosen them before you remove the belt. That way, when you remove the belt, you will actually have the bolts pre-loosened, because otherwise the pulley will be spinning freely and you will not be able to remove it. Now, practically I'll go ahead, okay, recommend to just get them loose to where they go by hand, but we'll just use the impact so we don't waste your time, guys. So we can go ahead and do that quickly now, but you can see that's why you need to do it first. Now, let's remove that pulley. Perfect. Why we need to remove it? Because we have a few bolts that we cannot access underneath. Right here we need to remove, okay, that's a hardware pulley. Let's go ahead and remove that one now. 14mm socket. This one is normal threaded. You go counterclockwise. Now we need to remove the tensioner pulley. This one is reverse threaded, okay. So we need to get a 14mm. Okay, let's go ahead, okay, and do it. Perfect. You can see how that one is reverse threaded, because otherwise you go counterclockwise to release the pressure so we can install the belt. Here, in our case, it's 17mm that we need to get. This is because you need to come out because there is a hidden bolt underneath as well. Let's do that. You will need to have the engine really well supported under the car, because you will not have the passenger engine mount. We'll have a special video that explains how to replace passenger engine mount on Hyundai Sonata, so if you need help, please feel free to check it out. Now, let's go ahead and remove the mount for the engine, the bracket for the engine mount. So those are 14mm bolts. One of them, somebody installed the wrong type of bolt. Whoever worked on that car last time, either it stayed somewhere for a long time and they lost bolts, or they had no idea what was happening, guys. I think combination of both, which sometimes that's why I prefer to work on my own vehicle, so I know what the problem is. Crankshaft pulley. Now, in order to remove the crankshaft pulley, there is a special tool that you use actually to install, okay, on the transmission bell housing right there. You see that hole here, and you remove that bolt there. It goes and locks the flywheel in the teeth, guys, or you can do it through, actually through the starter hole as well. You can do that as well. You have 2 bolts there that you can use as well. So with that being said, now, okay, let's explain something now, guys. We used air compressor and an impact. This is the impact that we use. Air compressor is very small but super powerful compressor. This one here, 165 psi, only 6 gallons, but it's able to do jobs like that usually with ease. Okay, only one time we had a hard time removing one bolt with it, but usually it does it great if you have that's the Ingersoll Rand, really good powerful impact. So ours is pretty loosened, so all we have to do, just remove now the bolt. Pretty simple. Let's do that, and we should be able to remove the pulley now. Okay, let's grab it. Perfect. Now right here, let's explain what we have specifically. We need to let's start with the 12mm bolts first. This one you don't need to remove. Okay, that's the only one that you don't. In some cases, maybe on some engines you do, but on this one you don't. You don't need to worry about that one. Okay, okay, let's remove these two, and I want to just remove that one to see. It's a short bolt, but I want to show you, okay, what you can see through it. because somewhere there should be the tensioner. Okay, let's see what's here. Okay, that's the tensioner. You can install now, guys, okay, the thing for the tensioner practically. You can access the timing chain tensioner, okay, to see it, okay, and to adjust it if you need to, but it's nothing major now because it's self-adjusting hydraulic tensioner. Now, right here, 10 millimeter, and we're going to go ahead, do all these. Okay, that's what we're doing now. Let me maybe make one good intro picture so you can get the idea when you guys click on that video where we're working, kind of like that it fits on Sonata. Now let me explain something. You can get penetrating spray, okay, oil, penetrating oil. I'll put the link in the description of the video below. Apply on that guide here that's super rusty, and one right there. Let it soak while you're working on all that, and then re-soak them again. You will have rust, and that will make the cover to come out hard. And if you pry too much, that can easily crack. It's super thin, and we've done that in the past, and they're expensive to replace. You have two prying spots, one here, one over there, and then I think you have one on the bottom here and one over there. So you have 4 prying spots that you need to actually go a little bit at a time, because it will be resealed, it will have silicone, and it will not come out easy. But you can see timing cover came out. Now that timing cover used the same silicone as the one for the oil pan that we show you, the gray gasket maker right there. But you need to clean later everything really good, okay, really good. Clean the engine block as well, clean the timing cover, clean it on the bottom where the oil pan will be actually contacting the timing cover. You need to use degreaser. I'll recommend maybe rubbing alcohol, clean everything good, and the block as well where they will be contacting. Apply later when you put it together about 2-3 millimeter bead of silicone and reseal everything. If you do it wrong, you have an oil leak from the timing cover, but it came out, and you can see here is the timing chain and all the internals of the engine. So we're right here now. Okay, let's explain what we need to do. First, we're going to explain what you're not supposed to do, but that's how we're going to do it. You can do it, but you have to be extremely careful. I would recommend to we have a special video that explains about the whole timing chain replacement procedure, how to replace timing chain on 2.4 GI engine. It will teach you everything from the timing chain, tensioner guides, and oil pump and balance shaft chain, so that way you gotta make sure that everything goes good. But you can do the tensioner only, which I do not recommend, because at that point you may have wear on the guides and the chain itself as well. So let's go ahead. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove the spark plugs on all 4 cylinders, and I want to show you something. Once we remove them, we need to bring the engine to where all 4 pistons are at the same plane, which means, okay, practically that one piston will, 2 pistons will not be close to TDC point, because if something goes wrong, you can actually jump, bend the valve, okay, and you will need to remove the cylinder head and have it rebuilt, replace the valve to fix that issue, or otherwise you can even say bye-bye to your engine. So we'll go ahead, do that, we'll remove the spark plugs, okay. I recommend to check all 4 of them, remove all 4 of them, but if you just remove the cylinder number 3 and 4 or 1 and 2, it will work as well, because cylinder 1 and 4 move together. I believe 2 and 3 move together as well at the same time. So we'll get the screwdriver, and in our case, okay, this piston is a little bit up, this one is down all the way, we don't feel it. So what we're going to do, we'll just turn the crankshaft, okay, and when we turn the crankshaft slowly, okay, a little bit more. Okay, let me check now, 1 second. Okay, if I check, okay, all the pistons are in the middle. So that's perfect, guys. Now let's continue with the next step. So next, what I'll recommend here now, guys, let me explain quick. I'll recommend to get the timing chain, okay, and mark a tooth, okay, mark a tooth with actually with the pulley itself here as well, and on that one as well. So something else, when you bring that key on the crankshaft, which is parallel with the engine block here, that's a TDC point on this side. So if you come on this side, okay, it will be the opposite of TDC. Okay, so if you bring it straight up at 90-degree angle, pointing up, that should be, or that's where the middle of the pistons will be as well. Now, I'll recommend to mark the chain to make sure it doesn't jump. You can get like a screwdriver here, small screwdriver, okay, and right here we can go ahead, okay, install it like that. And I'm going to hold the timing chain guide, okay, that's a two-person job. Hold the guide, go ahead and remove the two bolts for the tensioner. It's hydraulic tensioner. Now, if you have any sluggishness, oil sluggishness, clean it now, okay. And when you're ready to install the new timing chain tensioner, let's explain how you can actually do that, okay. Now we're rebuilding that engine, so we're still waiting on parts, but I'll show you how to do it with the old one, which is exactly the same as the new one. You have that too that prevent the timing chain tensioner from contracting when you lose oil pressure. So all we have to do, okay, align that shaft, move it a little bit. Watch how much wear that thing has, it's unbelievable. Press down on the tooth, okay, and compress the tensioner. When you have 3/4 teeth left, let go, okay, because otherwise it will not close all the way. Install a metal pin here. It will hold it like that. It needs to be a little bit thicker pin, okay, but it works as well. I'm going to hold the screwdriver now, and we're just going to go ahead and install it. Okay, the torque specs for the tensioner, I'll just tell you now, but there, I believe there were, you need to check the video for sure for the timing chain replacement, but I think there were 9.8 to 11.8 Newton meters. And once you hear a click from the torque wrench, okay, you need to stop. In our case, we'll just do it now quick, just to show you, okay, how we do it, but never do that. I'll recommend to replace the whole timing chain kit at that point. So, let's go ahead, okay, torque them and we'll continue. So, this is the torque wrench right here. Once you hear the click, you need to stop immediately. We're going to set ours at about, it says 9.8 to 11.8, so 11 is good in my opinion. 11.5 for those of you that like to go to the extremes, maybe 11.8 the most. So once you hear the click, stop immediately. That's it. Perfect. Now pull the tensioner spring out. Now, okay, now that tensioner, the arm didn't go where it's supposed to. Watch now. I need to move it. You may have a little bit of slack. Grab it with hands, pull. Okay, until okay, the tooth gets stuck and you have no slack on the chain. And make sure you check your teeth if you mark them with paint to make sure they're at the same place. What I will recommend, let's install the crankshaft pulley now. Let's install it, and we need to bring it to TDC point. All we have to do is just put the crankshaft pulley to verify that it didn't jump. Okay, you can verify that with the spark box removed. That key needs to come right here. So let's go ahead, turn, always go clockwise. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, let's just now we need to go one more revolution, because for every, okay, for well, in that case, yeah, let's go a little bit more. Okay, perfect. For every revolution of the crankshaft, you do one revolution, okay, of the camshaft. So here it's a TDC point now. You can put the timing cover and verify that this mark tooth will be on the timing cover on the TDC. And here if you verify, okay, you're going to have that tooth here aligning with the plane of the cylinder head camshaft cap, and this one here. All three those are in the same plane. You didn't jump timing. But I would recommend to always go with the full kit for timing chain replacement. Thank you for watching, see you guys next time.